Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Entitled Mother Demands I Pay Her Mortgage. After that, am I the jerk for canceling the family trip after what my wife did? And after that, $1 million worth of malicious compliance. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to pay her own mortgage. In this housing market, you gotta be kidding me. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Entitled Mother Demands I Pay Her Mortgage. So a bit of background. My mom and dad have been divorced for some time now, which leaves my mom as a single parent to me. Since I started working, I've had to pay board and rent to my mom, which of course I have no issues with. However, everyone I've spoken to, work moms, friends, etc., thinks I pay way too much. Since I got my first full-time job, I've had to pay £400 per month to my mom to live at home. This was not discussed prior, and I did not get a say on this. She seemed to just pick this number out of thin air. I've questioned where this money actually goes, as surely that means the house including bills costs £800 per month, so I assume I should be paying half. Every time I try to talk to her about it, she gets super defensive, shouts, and ends up in both of us getting angry and upset. During these discussions and arguments, she keeps mentioning I wouldn't have to pay as much if she had 2 wages coming into the household. She's referring to my dad not living with us. Surely that's not my problem or my fault. She's also lied to me by giving me different amounts regarding the amount outstanding on the mortgage and amount of bills, etc. Anyways, it goes on. My mom has had a savings account in my name, which she is a trustee of since I was born. She had the money from the government for having a kid put into there. Child tax credits in the UK. There's approximately £9,000 in this account, which I appreciate is a lot of money. I was told growing up I would receive this when I turned 18. However, this never happened. May I also add here the fact that my mom has stated that this is her money, and she put it in a trustee savings account with my name as the beneficiary to avoid my dad taking half should they split up, which eventually they did. My mom had stated numerous times she would like to get this withdrawn as she wants this money transferred to her bank account to pay her mortgage off, which she states has a shortfall of £9,000. Again, when she's mentioned the outstanding balance on the mortgage, the number changes drastically, so I'm not sure I believe her. I contacted the bank to see where I stand, and they stated that legally the money is mine, as it has been saved and earned interest in my name. They said it would have to be put into a bank account in my name to be released, which is what I did. I had the money put into my bank account to put into a savings account each month to earn interest on. However, my mom wasn't happy about this and said she felt blindsided as she wanted the money to be transferred into her bank account for the mortgage. She stated that she wants the money when the savings account is finished, but I can keep any interest earned. The savings account is only a 1-year account and is due to end in the coming months. So I'm just looking for some help on what to do in this situation, as she's again mentioned the money in my savings coming to an end. I should also mention that my mom is most definitely not struggling financially. She had me set up a direct debit into her savings account from her bank, and I couldn't help but see the balance in her account. She could buy the house again at the original price and still have money left over. I'm totally lost right now. Do I give her the money? Do I give her half? Do I tell her it's legally my money and I don't have to give it to her? Money is a difficult thing to talk about at the very best of times, and sometimes brings out the worst in people. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Nope, that's your money. Put into a trust for you. You don't owe it to your mother. She sounds very, very greedy and entitled. Don't give her anything, OP, and move out of her house ASAP before she, manipulates you into surrendering access to your bank account. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you give the money to your mom or not? Please let us know. I'd give her a knuckle sandwich is what I'd give her. Am I the jerk for canceling the family trip after what my wife did? I, male 42, have 2 boys, Adam who's 16 and Leo who's 14. Their mom passed 5 years ago and I married my wife Rose about a year ago. Rose adores both of my boys but complains about Leo being overly uptight and closed up. It's true he likes to keep to himself, doesn't participate in most family functions, but that's just how he is. My wife has taken it personally and kept saying that Leo clearly doesn't like her and/or doesn't like spending time with her. What she started doing was trying to exclude him from events under the excuse of he wouldn't be interested anyway, which I thought was wrong because he's picked up on that and started asking why. So I told my wife to just do her part and that giving him the choice to decide whether he wants to participate or not and not outright exclude him. I'd been arranging for a family trip, and days ago I booked tickets and hotel reservations upon deciding our destination. Note that I was paying for the entire thing, but the day of the trip I found out that Leo's ticket had been canceled. I was dumbfounded to discover it was my wife who canceled it. I immediately confronted her, and she said she figured Leo wouldn't want to come, but she knew he said he would go. She tried to argue that due to his moody personality and introverted nature, he had changed his mind last minute or go on the trip, but turned it into a miserable experience for us all. I got so mad at her, especially after she tried pressuring me to leave him with his aunt. I canceled the entire trip, all tickets, all reservations, everything. She blew up at me and started lashing out. I had the boys unpack, and I did the same, which made her go crazy and yell at everyone in the house. She went to stay with her sister while exposing what I did to the rest of the family, who thought I made a big deal out of it and shouldn't have canceled the trip that I promised the whole family. Edit. I'm planning another trip with the boys, without my wife, but right now there's huge conflict in the family, and even Adam is upset and blames Leo for what happened. I'm trying to get everyone to calm down, and then we'll see where this goes. Edit. I've decided, and following some opinions here, to speak to Adam to see exactly why he blames Leo for what happened. He just got home, and I'm about to get him into a separate room for a private talk to be able to hear his side and find out why he feels this way. Edit. I spoke with Adam. Turns out, Rose told him I canceled the trip after Leo changed his mind last minute, and that I decided to cancel it for everyone else and fought with her when she tried to convince me to go anyway and let Leo stay with his aunt. This is just, I don't know what to say. To be frankly honest, Adam didn't even want to talk, but I told him we needed to talk. He and Leo aren't speaking right now because of this, and I'm struggling trying to clean up this mess. I was actually thinking about calling Rose, but after this, I've decided I need more space than she does. I will have the boys sit together. It's hard to do, but I'll try, and talk this out so I can focus on the other major issue I have with what Rose did. Not the jerk. Your wife canceled your son's reservation because she didn't want to go on vacation with him. Your son's 14. He lost his mother and then had to adjust to you getting remarried. Your wife is the jerk, and canceling the trip was the right thing to do. Plus, it's his personality. Introverted people, even with the closest friends, are a bit restrained, so why would it be any different with a woman that took his mom's place? She's just too immature to handle him. I myself am an introvert, very quiet and semi-antisocial. But I have friends who are the same, and we're just all comfortable around each other. Rose has a total misconception that all kids are just always outgoing and chipper or whatever goes on in her head. And the fact Leo immediately picked up on her completely isolating him with a lame excuse proves it was a bad influence. It's always the quiet ones who are the most observant. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or Rose? Please let us know. I'm surprised Reddit's not freaking out telling OP to get divorced. $1 million worth of malicious compliance. I actually finally have a malicious compliance story of my very own. This happened just last night. I'm a mid-level boss for a second shift in a distribution warehouse. Among the many things I'm in charge of, the biggest is billing. I invoice all the orders after they're picked and loaded on trailers to be sent to the customers. Keeping all the boring technical details as small as possible, the billing system is called an ASN. It's clunky, outdated, and absolutely asinine in how it operates. If one single order is missing or has an error, it will crash the system and not put through any of the orders. So one billing error will cause 400 to 700 orders, around 8,000 to 15,000 pieces of product, around 15 to 20 trailer loads to not be billed or sorted to routes or sent. The orders come in 4 batches called POs. So last night we're working on the first PO when the warehouse manager comes to me and tells me that a customer ordered late and they've generated a 5th PO just for their order, but that they're coming in person tomorrow morning and that the day shift will pick it, only 10 pieces. He tells me when it prints out to just set it on his desk. Don't pick it or bill it. He'll handle it in the morning. I immediately tell him that if it's going to print on second shift's POs, then it will be in the system under our ASN, and that if I don't bill it, it will hit the system as a missed order and will crash the ASN. He looks at me indignantly and says it won't because the 5th PO is after ours and will be in the system on the next days. I tell him that's not how it works. He insists and says just to do it. His shift is over and he wants to go home. I give him a hearty, "Yes, sir," and go about my night. After the order printed, I set it on his desk as instructed and sent him an email on the company computer stating that his direct instructions had been followed. Normally I'd have texted it, but I wanted proof in the company's email. Needless to say, in the wee hours of the morning after my crew was home in bed, the ASN crashed over the missing order and just under $1 million of product was frozen in limbo. No money was charged. No customers received their pre-July 4th orders. My company ate the costs of everything, including the transportation costs, drivers, lumpers, dock workers, pickers, payroll, and all the other expenses of a large warehouse nightly operations. This morning, the warehouse manager called me, and to his credit, he didn't try to throw me under the bus, possibly helped along by my email proof. But he's always been a generally upfront kind of guy. He just sheepishly told me I was right, and crap had hit the fan. He's been there forever, so I doubt he'll get fired, but I know he'll be getting chewed out from corporate today. If you're going to run a multi-million-dollar operation on an outdated goober system, don't argue the one goober who knows how to make it run. I can only make deposits, withdrawals, and buy money orders? My previous mid-sized, obscure bank merged with another slightly bigger but equally obscure bank several years ago. All the familiar, friendly faces were replaced by younger, less than friendly staffers. I walk in and ask one of the tellers to change my $20 paper bill to quarters. I need a bunch of quarters because the building that I worked in had quite a vending machine. I'm talking cinnamon buns, coffee cakes, gourmet hot chocolate, etc. The building owner imported the machine from Japan. There's just one problem. It's very temperamental when it comes to paper bills. It eats bills constantly. Sometimes bills get mangled and shredded. The teller, let's call him Cletus, looked at me the same way that someone would look at a bunch of junk mail. Cletus: "We don't do that here. The previous staff may have done so in the past, but as you know, we've absorbed this branch, and we can't accommodate unusual requests such as yours unless you have a merchant or business account." He wasn't making eye contact now and was just fiddling about with his keyboard and monitor cables. His next words were the ones that set me off. Cletus: "I can help the next person in line." It's on. Me: "Wait a second, I have a few questions about my account. What am I allowed to do?" Cletus: "Withdrawals, deposits, buy money orders." Me: "Any restrictions or limits on how many times I can do it?" Cletus, now speaking very fast and very animated: "No restrictions, any denomination. You just can't walk up and ask us to make change for whatever cash you walk into the branch with." Okay, I'm happy to comply. Here we go. Me: "I'd like to make a withdrawal. I'd like $100 in 20s, another $100 in 10s, another 100 in 5s, and another 100, but this time I'd like 80 singles and $20 in quarters." Cletus: "Fine. Like I said, any kind of withdrawal or deposit is fine for your type of account." He counts everything in front of me, hands me the cash, and asks, "Anything else, boss?" I pocket the $20 rolls of quarters and say, "Yes, I'd like to deposit $380 to my account, please, Chief." I vividly remember his shoulders drooping and his eyes closing in disgust. Needless to say, I closed my account the next time that I stopped by. Am I the jerk for telling my son and his girlfriend I'm not raising his kid while we were at a family party? I'm 35, male, and I have a 17-year-old son. I had him very young and wasn't all that present in his life at first, so I wasn't much of a father for the first 2 years of his life. His mom and I then got back together, and she passed a year ago. He and his girlfriend are now expecting a baby that was obviously a surprise. His girlfriend moved in with us. They're both still in school and plan to go to college. When they told me about the baby, my son said that since I work from home, they can still go to school and get their degrees while I take care of the baby. I told them many times that I will not be raising their kid, and they need jobs. They can do part-time jobs with school and get 2 jobs over the summer to save up some money. They're both mad about it, but we didn't discuss it anymore. We all went to my brother's birthday party and the whole family was there. My son's girlfriend decided to announce the pregnancy there to everyone. She's 4 months pregnant. Everyone was a bit shocked, but congratulated them. And then my brother joked to me, "Wow, Grandpa at 35, you could be the baby's dad." Girlfriend then said, "Well, he will be helping out with the baby a lot, so he will be like an honorary dad." And everyone laughed. My son then said, Let's make a toast to my dad, who will help me out by caring for my kid at the beginning to make up for the time he missed out on the first time around when he was a baby. I told them right then and there that I will not be raising or supporting this kid financially, and if they want to have it, they need to get jobs and grow up. They were both upset, especially his girlfriend. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk, but short of kicking them out, I don't know what your leverage is going to be once the baby is born. Are her parents in the picture? Agree with this. They were trying to manipulate you into raising and financially supporting the kid while you also support them. I'm glad you stood your ground. The thing is, once a baby is born, it's usually more difficult for someone to say no. So maybe setting clear ground rules early is good, and make sure to stick to them. I also agree with the above point about short of kicking them out, what will your leverage be? It's not easy for a caring parent to turn a kid away. Throwing out some thoughts here, not saying you have to do them. Would setting up deadlines to have a job or income help? Would charging them rent help? I was thinking either one, very minimal amount. Definitely nowhere near what market rates are, but to give a little push to earn an income. Or two, charge a minimal rental, but that amount is going into something like a jar at home that can be used towards baby formula, diapers, etc. But they also should not dump the baby shopping and care onto you too. It still should be them doing it. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk for not wanting to raise his son's kid or not? Please let us know. You want to act like grown folk? You better take care of yourself like grown folk. Am I the jerk? I went on vacation with my friend and her family and they kicked me out. I got my own room and stayed. I'm in college and my roommate from last year, Meg, whose family is really rich, said she could bring a friend on vacation. It was kind of awkward. I was her third choice, but her family vetoed the first two because they didn't want her bringing a boy or this other friend of hers that they disliked. Her parents bought my plane ticket and booked the resort, which I was very grateful for, and I saved a lot of money up so that I could make sure I buy my own food and activities when I'm there and treat her family to a dinner as a thank you for the ticket. But when the trip started, it was just bad. It was her, me, her mother, her father, two of her father's friends, and her three brothers going. On the flight, they all got first class and got me an economy seat. But I didn't say anything because why argue about a free ticket? The first night they went to a grocery. It turns out they wanted to cook at the resort kitchen for the whole trip. And by they wanted to cook, it actually turns out that they wanted me and Meg to cook. I wasn't warned about this, but it turns out Meg's family is so traditional that they thought the cooking was our job, and her mom had just had hand surgery. So it was me and Meg cooking every meal for 6 men and her mom, and I can't cook well. I know a couple staple meals to feed myself, but since I rarely eat meat, I don't know how to cook it. I'm also okay at cooking for 1 or 2, but have no practice cooking for a group of 9. I messed it up, undercooked chicken, and overcooked some steak, and her dad was angry with me. I got short with him and told him that if he knew how to do better, he could pitch in instead of standing around criticizing. But he got furious and said he was on his vacation. I said that I was trying to have a vacation too, or did they invite me just to be an unpaid domestic servant? Meg's parents and dad's friends got angry I said that and started yelling at me. The argument escalated. I sarcastically called myself the help. Her dad snapped at me and told me to get out of their suite and go home. Didn't say anything about how he expected me to do that. I left and called the airline with my ticket and asked them if they could do anything to prevent anyone else from modifying or canceling my ticket. They let me set a passcode and no changes could be made to the flight without it. Then I went to the resort desk to ask about rooms, saying I was stranded unexpectedly. They actually did have some affordable rooms available because of a weekday discount, so I got housing and still had money left over for touristy stuff. I went sightseeing and relaxed on the beach for 3 days until Meg's parents ran into me. They were taking a sunset walk and did a double take seeing me on the beach. They said that they thought I was going home, and I said I decided to stay. They were angry because they saw me staying and using the return flight as having deceived them into thinking I couldn't afford a vacation, and using them for flights when I could have actually afforded things. Am I the jerk for staying on that vacation and using the flight home? Not the jerk. This is no way to treat the friend of your kid. Also, it's no way to treat your kid. What on earth? Your poor friend. Not the jerk. Too bad Meg didn't leave with you and let Pops and Bros do the cooking. Poor Meg's family may have money, but they don't have class. Am I the jerk for creating a scene at my birthday and refusing to cut the cake because the cake was bought not considering my choice? I, 17 female, had my birthday 3 days ago. The birthday party was arranged at my own place. I have 2 maternal cousins, let's call them Namif, 15 male, and Ella, 13 female, who love vanilla cakes a lot. They don't hate chocolate cakes, but they always prefer vanilla over chocolate by a high margin. I've always hated vanilla cake since childhood. I never liked the smell or the taste, none of it, and I've always preferred and loved chocolate cakes. So obviously, I wanted a chocolate cake for my birthday instead of a vanilla cake, which I won't even be able to eat. The arrangement was almost done, and it was time to buy the birthday cake. I told my mom, let's go together and buy a cake. My maternal uncle, 42 male, then said that he will go, choose and buy the cake with Namif, and told me not to go because it's really hot outside with 36 degrees Celsius, or 99 degrees Fahrenheit. I and my mom both said we will go and buy it because I want to choose my own birthday cake. My maternal uncle then assured me that he will buy the cake according to my choice, which I will love. Seeing me since childhood, he knows I don't like vanilla cakes. Again, my mom reminded him not to buy a vanilla cake and to buy chocolate cake instead. I also told him to buy chocolate cake. Then after a while, my maternal uncle came back with the cake. I opened the box with interest and curiosity and saw it was a big vanilla cake. I looked at him with a confused face and he said, "I bought it because Namif loved it and chose the cake for you." Then I said nothing and went to my room. My mom came after me and I told her that I will not celebrate my birthday and I won't cut the cake. Hearing this, my maternal uncle came and started saying, "Elders should always sacrifice for their youngers. You're Namif's elder sister and you can't sacrifice just a cake for him." It's like the 1,000th time I'm hearing this. "You should sacrifice for your youngers" thing from him. Hearing this, I got even more mad and said, "Okay then, I should as well sacrifice cutting the cake and let him, my brother, cut the cake." My point was, why the heck am I supposed to sacrifice at my own birthday? Not to mention I'm celebrating my birthday after 4 years. Then I started saying how I felt and how their mentality sucks and said I won't cut the cake. Then my maternal aunt started saying I'm the jerk, I'm childish and selfish, and they won't ever attend my birthday. Am I the jerk? Update. After the vanilla cake was bought and I reacted, at first, Mom told me to keep the peace for the sake of the guests and said that she will talk to Uncle later about this crappy deed of his after guests are gone and the party's over. But when my aunt started calling me a jerk and childish and selfish, immature, etc., my mom lost her cool and defended me. For that, my mom and aunt had a huge fight, for which my uncle, aunt, along with cousins, left the birthday party. After they were gone, my mom, my best friend, and I went to my favorite cake shop and bought a big, cute chocolate cake from there. Later, the birthday went good. Had a classic case of don't judge a book by its cover, both on my side and the customer's side. So the other day, I get a foretop of older ladies that had a million questions about the beers and ciders. I was able to answer all of them and offered a taste of one cider on tap. Sorry ladies, I can't offer tastes of the rest since they're in cans. They don't like the cider, so I ended up getting them generic beers of their choice. So I'm like, great, sorry that you had to settle for what you didn't want. Anyways, still getting confused and what seems like judgmental looks after running back and forth to the bar for them, I assumed it was my tattoos and stuff. I don't have many tattoos, only 6 visible ones, but I also have a lip ring and a septum ring, so I felt like these ladies were kinda giving me dirty looks. I'm just like, whatever. They're old, they don't get it, blah blah blah, and I don't care what people think about me anyways, so just go about my time. I'm pretty busy, but pay special attention because they're ordering multiple drinks and they're all super specific about their orders. When I drop off their food, super specific mods, etc., the lady who I thought was giving me dirty looks stops me and asks me about my leg tattoo, Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses. So I explain that he's my favorite horror clown, rest in peace Sid Haig, and she asks me if I've seen the other movies from Rob Zombie. I was in shock, like, how does this 70-year-old woman know this? So obviously I got super excited. Another lady at the table asks me about my 2 forearm tattoos, which are both Stephen Gamel illustrations, spooky stuff. Anyways, the lady I thought hates me ends up telling me that Halloween is her favorite holiday, and we talked about Halloween for a long time because it's obviously my favorite holiday too. They ended up being my favorite table of the day, and I made an extra $20 because their car died in the parking lot and I let them use my jumper cables. I tried really hard to not accept the extra 20, but the ladies insisted. One of my favorite examples of don't judge a book by its cover. Me for judging older ladies with super specific mods and wanting to taste lots of things, and then because I'm happy they didn't judge me on my appearance. So that's my story for the day. Cheers, everyone. Edit. I didn't realize that calling 70-year-old people old would be such a big deal. If I can paint a bigger picture, these ladies looked like they were in a typical ladies' day type scenario, super proper and buttoned up, ready for a fancy lunch, which isn't common for a pizzeria. Sorry if I've offended anyone by calling them old. I really didn't mean anything by it. And if I may reiterate, I loved these ladies in the end, and if I had them at my table again, I'd be so stoked to have them. Psycho Karen gets kicked out of our hotel. Good evening, class. I hope we're all ready for today's lesson. Today, we're going to learn how to get kicked out of a hotel. Now, for the two big jerks in this lesson, we will call them Karen and Kelly, because these are some of the most entitled jerks I think I've ever met. It all started when I came into my normal work shift. It was a normal start to my shift, manager gut punching me, and my GM asking why we hit each other. I mean, why not? When my manager left, something minor happened that needed a detailed note. While doing that, Karen came into the building. Karen, my key isn't working, and that jerk from this morning made it worse. Oh my, I thought to myself. Me. Oh, I'm sorry for that, ma'am. I can remake that for you. I just need an ID, and I don't have an ID. It's in my room, and I'm locked out of my room. This is BS. Do your job better. She turned around and went down the hall. She was staying on the bottom floor, and as she was walking, she yelled at me, "Forget you." Oh my, lovely. I heard her knocking on her room door. Her sister Kelly was in there. So I go to the back and text both of my managers about what happened. They said if Karen comes back and is doing the same thing, put my foot down and tell her not to talk to me like that or she will be removed. Cool, simple, love it, awesomeness. Karen comes back. She exits her room, slams, and I mean slams that door, and comes in the lobby screaming. Me, ma'am, do not talk to me like that. If you continue, you will be removed from the hotel. Karen, I am talking to you however I want to talk to you. I am the customer. Me, do not talk to me like that at all. Now please hand me your ID so I can remake your keys for you. No, you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to tell you how to do your job. Because I was a manager at a hotel. Me, do not talk to me like that again. If you do it one more time, you will be removed from the hotel. This is your last warning. Karen, you are being mean to me. Make my keys now. Me, ma'am, Karen. No. Shut up. I am talking, you hear me? Do not interrupt me. I'm really holding my tongue now. Karen, that is what I thought. This is why my keys don't work. The jerk this morning didn't remake both of my keys at the same time. So explain to me, since this one isn't working now, but the other one does. Me. So that key in your hand was working the whole time since my coworker remade it? Karen. You're not going to apologize to me? I was done being nice. Me. I'm not apologizing to you at all. I didn't do anything to you at all. You literally came in here screaming and cussing at me over your key. Give me your ID, give me the keys, so you can go to your room and leave me alone. No, apologize to me now, you hear me? Me, ID please. Stop interrupting me. ID. No, listen to me. I will listen once you give me your ID. She gives me the ID, I make her keys, I give her the keys. I'm ignoring her now. Karen, your parents didn't raise you right. Who talks to a customer how you do? You're a poor excuse of a person. I turn to walk off to text my managers. Karen, wow, really? You interrupted me and everything? Now you're ignoring me? I am trying to say sorry to you. Worst apology ever. She kept yelling at me from the front desk. I was texting my managers about everything. It got to the point I turned the corner and said, "Go to your room now. I'm not talking to you at all." Karen gets angry and starts cussing and yelling more and goes to her room and slams the door. GM calls me. Me, Meow Hotel, how can I help you? GM, transfer me to that room now. Me, okie dokie. Not sure what happened after that, but my manager called me next. Manager, what exactly did you say to that woman? Me, I told her to stop talking to me how she is. Told her if she doesn't stop, she will be removed from the hotel. I kept asking for ID and she kept screaming like a 5-year-old. Manager: You said nothing inappropriate to her? Me: No, why? Manager: She said she recorded you and that she has evidence of you getting violent and saying inappropriate things to her. Dumbfounded, I tried really hard not to giggle. Me: She just dug her own grave. Manager: Yeah, it sounds like it. Transfer me to the room. I transferred. 10 minutes later, I get a call from our customer service complaint line. Kelly in the room called them. The woman who was dealing with the case said, she said you attacked her sister over the counter and said very inappropriate things to her. I told the lady to give me a case management number and pass it on to the managers. This is in their hands now. I texted it to them and told them what the casewoman said. GM calls me back and said, I want them out now. Heck no, I am pulling up the security cameras. I transferred her to the room. Manager called me next and was ranting about how she should have kicked out that woman earlier this morning. This wasn't the first issue with her, I guess. GM calls me back and said they have 15 minutes to get out. She told them about the cameras. She said Karen started yelling and cussing at her and sometimes was just screaming, which I could hear down the hallway. GM told them if they come to the desk to talk to me, GM was currently watching the cameras, watching them leave. She told them if they come to the desk to talk to me, she would be calling police for harassment and disturbance of the peace, and she will throw trespassing on top of it because GM and manager told them leave multiple times each. They went out the back doors, never stopped by the desk. Kelly and Karen quietly left, and I sat in the back room singing show tunes and doing homework. Was I upset over her yelling and screaming at me? Oh yeah, big time. When you yell and scream at me like she did, I started violently shaking. I was violently shaking and in the employee's bathroom trying not to throw up because, Moral of this story, don't be a jerk and don't do drugs. I don't know if drugs were involved, just don't do them though. I love you all get an A+.
And huge shout out to our newest official channel member, Marie ASMR. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to Reddit Boy and I. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.